Have you ever wondered how many marriages end, not with a fight, but with a notification? Because at 2:07 a.m., my husband's old iPad exposed an affair so twisted, it detonated my entire family in under 5 minutes. And the worst part? He thought he was about to win. He had no idea I was about to ruin his life on a 65-inch TV. Backhand index pointing right, stay with me, because this betrayal didn't just cross a line. It erased it. They say cheating hurts. But cheating with your stepsister? That is different. I never thought I'd be one of those Reddit posts. You know, the ones you read them, shake your head, and think, there's no way people are this evil. Yeah, I used to think that too. My husband, let's call him Mark, and I have been married for 6 years. High school sweethearts. Suburban house. Combined Spotify account. The whole fake fairy tale package. And then there was Chloe, my stepsister. She came into my life when I was 10, after my dad remarried. We weren't best friends, but we were close enough to share holidays, inside jokes, and apparently, my husband. Looking back, all the red flags were there. Mark always said Chloe was too much. Too loud. Too chaotic. Too dramatic. Funny how men love to complain about the exact women they're sleeping with, but I trusted him. That was my first mistake. It happened on a random Tuesday night. No intuition. No gut feeling. No suspicious behavior. Just lasagna. Mark had upgraded his phone and handed me his old iPad for recipes. I wiped it, he said. He lied. At 2 a.m., I opened the Photos app looking for a screenshot of a pasta recipe instead. New images started appearing. Live. Syncing in real time. First, harmless stuff. Lunch. A dashboard. A blurry Starbucks cup. Then, a shirtless mirror selfie. Not our bedroom. Not our house, and in the reflection, a woman turning away. Long brown hair. A blue butterfly tattoo on her shoulder. Chloe. My entire body went cold. I kept scrolling. 6 months of proof. Hotel rooms. Our car. My couch. And then the screenshots. The ones cheaters always forget to delete. She's so boring compared to you. She has no idea. Once the lease is up, we're free. That's when I realized something worse than the affair. They weren't just cheating. They were waiting to financially destroy me. And they had a deadline. Backhand index pointing right, don't blink, because this is where revenge quietly starts loading. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Shock turned into something colder. Something precise. Mark was due home in an hour. Chloe was coming over Sunday for my dad's birthday dinner, and suddenly, I had the upper hand. I downloaded everything. Every photo. Every message. Every timestamp. Send it to 3 emails. Printed hard copies. Then I wiped the iPad for real. When Mark came home, he kissed my cheek. He smelled like her perfume. How was work? I asked. Exhausting, he said, without flinching. For 3 days, I played the perfect wife. Smiled. Cooked. Slept next to a stranger, because Sunday night wasn't just dinner. It was an execution. Everyone came. My dad. Her mom. Mark's parents. I told them I made a slideshow. Memories through the years. Wedding photos. Baby pictures. Laughter. Then the screen went black, and up popped the hotel selfie. Full screen. 4K betrayal. Silence. Then text messages. Then, the explicit photo. Taken in my bed. Mark jumped up. It's a virus. Turn it off. The remote didn't work. I'd taken the batteries out. It's not a virus, I said calmly. It's your cloud account. And that's my stepsister. My dad lunged. Chloe's mom screamed. Mark begged. 6 months of evidence hit the coffee table. He was kicked out that night. She was disowned. The divorce was brutal and beautiful, because the texts proved premeditation. I kept the house. The car. Most of the money. Last I heard, they tried dating for real. He cheated on her too, but don't get comfortable yet. A husband and stepsister don't just cheat. They try to steal an inheritance. And what happens in court? Absolutely devastating. Don't miss it. If this story made your stomach drop, hit like. If you would have exposed them sooner or waited longer, comment below. And subscribe, because these next stories, they get darker. If you thought the first betrayal was brutal, brace yourself, because this next husband didn't just cheat. He tried to steal his wife's inheritance, using her stepsister as the weapon. And what happened next? Let's just say, greed made them sloppy. Backhand index pointing right, stay locked in, because this section ends with a legal move so savage, it changes everything. I'm 32 years old. 2 years ago, my grandmother passed and left me a significant inheritance. Not lottery money, but enough to change your life if you're smart. My husband, David, had always been weird about money. Crypto bro energy. Hustle culture nonsense. Always one move away from being rich. But when that inheritance hit my account, this man transformed overnight. Suddenly, he was attentive. Romantic. Talking about our future. Vacations. Investments. Early retirement. I thought grief had softened him. In reality, it activated him. My stepsister Vanessa has always resented me. She's the kind of person who believes the world owes her everything and gets furious when it doesn't deliver, always broke, always borrowing. And suddenly, designer bags, new car, weekend trips. I didn't connect it at first, because the idea of my husband and her together felt too disgusting to even consider. That denial almost cost me everything. The truth didn't come from a phone. It came from a bank notification. An inquiry alert on a joint account I never authorized. I went to the branch to clear it up. The teller looked confused and said something that made my chest tighten. But your husband and his partner were just here yesterday. I laughed nervously. My partner? Yes, she said. The blonde woman. Vanessa, I think. My vision tunneled. Apparently, David had been asking detailed questions about trust access, liquidation timelines, and spousal authorization loopholes. With her. That's when the puzzle snapped into place. They weren't just cheating. They were planning to legally drain my inheritance and disappear. But here's what they didn't know. Backhand index pointing right. My grandmother raised me paranoid for a reason. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I hired a forensic accountant. What we found was insane. David had opened shadow accounts, drafted and signed loan documents, tried to position himself as financial caretaker, and coached Vanessa to pose as a business consultant. The plan? Convince me to move the inheritance into a shared investment vehicle, then drain it through losses and offshore transfers. And the texts, oh yeah, there were texts. Once it's merged, she can't undo it. Just keep her calm. She trusts you. That last one, that was about me. I played dumb for weeks. Let him think I was considering it, because revenge tastes better when it's slow cooked. Here's where they messed up. Inheritance funds are protected unless manipulation or conspiracy is proven, and guess what? They documented everything. My lawyer smiled when she saw the evidence. We didn't just file for divorce. We filed financial abuse claims, conspiracy to commit fraud, intent to misappropriate protected assets, and then we did something deliciously cruel. We waited until David finalized the paperwork attempting access. That moment, that's when he crossed the legal line. He was served at work. Vanessa was subpoenaed. David called me screaming, "You set me up." I calmly replied, "No. You tried to rob me." His accounts were frozen. His employer was notified. The court issued a temporary restraining order on financial proximity. Vanessa? She folded immediately. She tried to claim he manipulated her. The text said otherwise. Here's the thing though, this wasn't the worst one. The betrayal doesn't end with money or cheating. Backhand index pointing right, it ends with a paternity bombshell that permanently rewrites a family tree. And when the truth comes out, someone loses everything: their marriage, their reputation, and their identity. Not skip the next section. If your partner tried this, would you expose them immediately or let them dig the hole deeper? What if I told you the next betrayal didn't just end a marriage? It erased a man's entire identity, because in this section, the cheating husband doesn't just sleep with the stepsister. Backhand index pointing right, he finds out the child he's been raising was never his, and the person who knew the whole time? Yeah, She was sitting at a family dinner. Don't blink, this one is nuclear. On the outside, my life looked untouchable. 10-year marriage. 2 kids. Family vacations posted on Facebook with matching outfits and 4 smiles. My husband, Eric, loved calling us rock solid. The type of guy who brags about loyalty while actively betraying it. My stepsister Lena had always been around. Too involved. Too comfortable. She babysat constantly. Showed up unannounced. I crossed boundaries I ignored because family is family. Eric always defended her. She's just close to the kids. She helps us. She's harmless. Yeah, harmless, until the night everything cracked. The truth didn't come from suspicion. It came from a science fair project. Our oldest needed a basic DNA kit, ancestry-level stuff, for school. Eric thought it was cool. Let's do it together, he said. Weeks later, the results came in. Mine? Normal. The kids? Normal. Eric's? No biological match. At first, we thought it was an error. Then we tested again. Same result. Eric went pale. I started sweating. Kept saying, that's impossible. But I wasn't looking at him anymore. I was looking at Lena, because she went quiet. She already knew. And she'd known for over a decade. Backhand index pointing right. What happened next detonated the entire family. Eric confronted me that night, accused me, shouted, demanded answers. I calmly told him the truth. I didn't cheat. That's when Lena cracked. She started crying, saying she never meant for it to happen. Turns out, before Eric and I were married, before we were even official, he slept with her. One time. Drunk. Forgotten, except she got pregnant, and instead of telling him, she let him marry me. Let him raise her child. Let him bond, sacrifice, and build a life on a lie. Eric dropped to the floor. I've never seen a man unravel like that. The kids were devastated, confused, shattered. Eric spiraled. Lena tried to justify it. I didn't want to lose him. I thought it would be better this way. He was happy. Happy. She watched him cry during sleepless nights. I watched him teach his son to ride a bike. Watched him defend her at every family gathering, and she said nothing. Divorce was immediate, but the real consequences, worse. Eric sued Lena for paternity fraud. 1. She lost custody rights. Lost financial support. Lost the family. My parents cut her off completely. She tried reaching out to me. I blocked her everywhere, because some betrayals don't deserve closure. But listen, as horrifying as this was, it still wasn't the most calculated revenge. One wife doesn't just expose the affair, backhand index pointing right. She waits years, builds a flawless setup, and destroys her cheating husband and stepsister at their own wedding. Yes, their wedding, and when it happens, the fallout is irreversible. Be honest, if you found out your child wasn't biologically yours after raising them for years, would you want the truth? Or would you rather never know? What if I told you the most dangerous kind of revenge is the kind that waits? Because in this section, one wife doesn't scream. She doesn't expose texts. She doesn't rush, backhand index pointing right. She lets her cheating husband marry her stepsister and destroys them both at the altar. Stay right here. This is surgical. When my husband Ryan left me for my stepsister Paige, everyone thought I lost. He didn't just cheat, he humiliated me, moved out. Moved in with her. Posted couple photos within weeks, and Paige, she smiled through it all. I never meant to hurt you, she said. While wearing my old sweater. Here's what nobody realized. I wasn't heartbroken. I was observing, because when people think they've won, that's when they get careless. I disappeared. No posts. No drama. No begging. I finalized the divorce quietly. Ryan thought he got away clean, but what he didn't know, I kept everything. Messages, emails, financial records, and most importantly, I watched. Ryan and Paige rushed their relationship. Engagement in a year. Wedding planning immediately. She wanted the fairy tale. I decided to give it to her. I volunteered to help plan their wedding. And they said yes. Backhand index pointing right. That decision destroyed them. I played supportive, helped pick venues. Suggested vendors. Smiled through fittings. Paige trusted me. Ryan avoided eye contact. I became invisible. Meanwhile, I contacted a lawyer, a forensic accountant, and a private investigator. Turns out, Ryan had been hiding income, cheating on taxes, moving money through Paige's accounts. Illegal, traceable, devastating, and I waited. Beautiful venue. Outdoor ceremony. 200 guests, family, friends, co-workers. Ryan stood at the altar beaming. Paige looked radiant. Then the officiant asked, "Does anyone have reason?" I stood up, calm, collected. "I do." Gasps. Ryan froze. Paige whispered, "What is she doing?" I walked forward. "I won't be long," I said. "I just think everyone deserves the truth." Screens behind the altar lit up. Bank statements. Messages. Evidence of tax fraud. Text messages between Ryan and Paige mocking me, planning their escape. Silence. Then whispers. Then chaos. The officiant stepped back. Paige started crying. Ryan screamed. Security moved in, but too late, because here's the kicker. I had already forwarded everything to the IRS. The wedding was canceled. Guests left stunned. Ryan was audited within weeks. He lost his job. Faced charges. Paige's accounts were frozen. They turned on each other immediately. Their love didn't survive the consequences. But listen carefully. As savage as this was, backhand index pointing right, this wasn't the final story. Because in Section 5, the last wife isn't exposed. She doesn't ambush. She does something colder. She lets her cheating husband believe he won, until the moment he realizes he's been the pawn the entire time. And the ending, it flips everything you think you know about revenge. Be honest, was this revenge too far, or was it exactly what they deserved? Drop your take below. What if the most brutal revenge is letting the cheater believe they won? Because in this final section, no screenshots get exposed. No weddings get interrupted. The husband walks away smug until he realizes his entire life was scripted by the woman he betrayed. This ending changes everything. When my husband Caleb left me for my stepsister Nora, everyone pitied me. I was quiet, composed, almost detached. Caleb moved fast, took the house. I took the car, took our mutual friends. He laughed when I asked for nothing in the divorce. See, he told people. She knows she lost. And I let him believe that, because the truth, I didn't lose. I was released. Caleb always underestimated me. He handled the money, the contracts, the investments. I trusted him. What he didn't realize, every account, every LLC, every policy, backhand index pointing right, was structured in my name, not ownership, control. And when he rushed the divorce, desperate to start his new life with Nora, he skipped due diligence. That was his fatal mistake. Caleb didn't take the assets. He took the liabilities. And I took the exit. Backhand index pointing right. Here's where the trap snaps shut. 3 months after the divorce, the calls started. Banks, partners, lawyers. Caleb was confused. Projects failing, loans maturing, revenue evaporating. Because when he left, I dissolved the holding company. Perfectly legal, perfectly timed. Every asset he took depended on my operational approval, which he no longer had. Meanwhile, I quietly sold my stake. I walked away clean. Caleb showed up at my door, desperate, angry, panicking. "You set me up," he said. I didn't deny it. I just asked one question. "Did you really think I'd let you win?" Nora started texting me days later, begging, accusing, threatening. Their relationship cracked under pressure. Funny how soulmates disappear when the money does. 6 months later, Caleb filed for bankruptcy. Nora left. The friends vanished. And I moved cities. Started over. Thrived. The last message Caleb sent me, "I didn't know you were capable of this." That's the thing. He never knew me at all. Here's the twist nobody expects. Backhand index pointing right. I never hated him. Hate requires effort. I simply made sure he lived the consequences of his choices without me lifting my voice once. And that's the most devastating revenge of all. If you stayed until the end, you already know these weren't just cheating stories. They were lessons. So here's my question to you. Backhand index pointing right, is revenge about destruction, or is it about walking away untouched? Everyone loves revenge stories, right up until the revenge is over, because what nobody talks about is what happens after the cheater is ruined, after the comments stop cheering, after the villain disappears. Months pass. No more court dates. No more calls. No more adrenaline. Just quiet. I had one. By every definition people use online. He was broke, alone, forgotten. I was free, and yet the silence felt heavier than the chaos ever did. Not because I missed him, but because revenge doesn't clap back. It just ends. Here's the part no one puts in the thumbnails. Victory doesn't feel explosive. It feels still. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't satisfied either. I was clear, and clarity is uncomfortable, because once the dust settles, you're forced to ask a question most people avoid. Backhand index pointing right, who am I when I'm no longer reacting to betrayal? I didn't rebuild my life to prove anything to him. I rebuilt it so I'd never need revenge again. And that's when I realized something dangerous. Backhand index pointing right, he didn't lose because I destroyed him. He lost because I outgrew him. I wrote him a message once. Never sent it. It said, "You taught me exactly what I would never tolerate again. For that, I should probably thank you." I deleted it. Some people don't deserve final words. They deserve distance. And now, this part is for you, because if you're still watching, one of three things is true. You've been betrayed, you're afraid you might be, or you're pretending this could never happen to you. Let me say this clearly. Betrayal doesn't destroy people. Avoiding the truth does. Every person in these sections, every cheater, every stepsister, every liar, they didn't fall because they cheated. They fell because they thought consequences were optional. Revenge isn't about cruelty. It's about control, returning to the person who lost it. And sometimes the most brutal ending isn't humiliation. Isn't exposure. It's watching someone realize too late that they were never as smart, powerful, or untouchable as they thought. People always ask what closure looks like. They imagine apologies, tears, regret, some cinematic moment where the cheater finally realizes what they lost. That's not how it happens. Closure usually shows up quietly on a random afternoon, when you realize you haven't checked their social media in weeks, when their name doesn't spike your heart rate anymore, when the story that once consumed you starts to feel distant. That's when I ran into him, not intentionally, not dramatically. A grocery store, middle of the week, bad fluorescent lighting, mundane enough to feel cruel. He looked smaller, not physically, just diminished, like someone whose life had slowly folded inward. He saw me first. I knew because I felt that familiar weight land between my shoulders, the sense of being watched by someone who no longer has permission to know you. He didn't smile, didn't wave. He just stared, and for a moment, I wondered if he was waiting for me to say something. Maybe he expected anger, or bitterness, or even triumph. What he got instead was indifference. I walked past him, close enough to smell the cheap detergent on his jacket, close enough to hear him inhale like he wanted to speak. I didn't slow down, and that's when it hit me. This was the first time since everything exploded that he felt powerless, not because I did something to him, but because I didn't need to. I saw him again weeks later, this time through mutual acquaintances. Someone mentioned his name casually, the way people do when they assume the story is over. They said he talks about me sometimes, says I changed, says I became cold, says he never saw it coming. That part almost made me laugh, because nothing about this was sudden. People like him don't notice change unless it affects them. They don't see boundaries forming. They don't recognize silence as a decision. They mistake peace for weakness. That's the real delusion. I didn't become cold. I became unavailable. And there's a difference that terrifies the wrong people. I heard that he still tries to explain what happened, that he frames himself as unlucky, misled, betrayed by circumstances. They always do. Cheaters rewrite history so they don't have to face the part where they chose themselves at someone else's expense. What they never talk about is the moment they realize the story is finished, and they're no longer the main character in it. That realization doesn't break them all at once. It erodes them. Slowly. Quietly. I end the spaces where applause used to be. I don't know where my stepsister is now. I stopped asking. Stopped caring. Some endings don't need updates. What I do know is this. The day I stopped needing to prove anything was the day the story actually ended. No more revenge fantasies. No more rehearsed comebacks. No more late night spirals. Just space. And space is dangerous for people who relied on chaos to feel important. If there's one thing I learned from everything you've just heard, it's this. Betrayal doesn't ruin your future. It reveals who was never meant to walk into it with you. The cheaters in these stories didn't lose because they were exposed. They lost because the people they underestimated walked away smarter, quieter, and free. And that's the ending they never prepare for. So, if you're watching this while sitting in confusion, anger, or disbelief, if you're still trying to make sense of something that shattered your trust, let this be the last thing you take with you. You don't need to destroy anyone to move on. You just need to make sure they can't reach you anymore. That's not revenge. That's survival. And sometimes it's the most satisfying ending of all. If you're watching this story, tighten your blanket and hit the like button so YouTube understands you want the next chapter unlocked. And tell me in the comments, which beautiful country are you watching from? And what's the exact time there right now?